Hi fam, I hope you are doing well. My name is Kay. If you are new here, I hope you like it here and that you join this family by clicking on the subscribe button down below. And to my fam, my loyal people, thank you so much for coming back, lovies. I'm back with a new video, and this time I will be talking to you about things that I wish I knew about Cape Town before I moved here. You can also personalize this video in case you are looking to move to Cape Town or you're still toying with the idea. So these are things that I didn't know about Cape Town before moving here, and I found out when I had arrived. And these are in no way an indication that I regret my decision to move here, but rather just some interesting things that I think set Cape Town apart. Okay. All right, I will be looking down from time to time. I wrote my notes on my phone, so yeah, but hopefully that's not going to be too much. We'll be sharing 10 things, and then some of the items or some of the points I will go into detail with, and others will just be surface level because they're self-explanatory. Okay, so the first thing is the cost of living. No one really prepares you for Cape Town's cost of living. It's very expensive here, guys, and I guess you have to ensure, if you're moving here for work purposes, that you have a good paying job, and that you are kind of aware before the time of what to expect, what accommodation costs are like, and things like that, you know, how far away from work you're willing to stay, or if you want to stay close to work. And let me just put this out there, anything close to CBD is expensive. The southern suburbs, expensive. So you need to just be mindful of that. You must just ensure that your job pays well. So that's a tip I can share with you. If you're moving here for business, do your homework. Do your homework, and if possible, try establish a client base before you move, unless of course you into e-commerce, which can be a different story altogether. Okay. Another thing I wanted to mention here under the cost of living is, in general, salaries in Cape Town tend to be sometimes 6% above the country's average. So look into that. If the company you're applying to, or whatever, if the company you're applying to does not offer a salary that's a little bit above the national average, you might want to negotiate your package to ensure that you can live here and survive here. Not just survive, but enjoy this place. Yeah. Second thing I was not ready for is that deposit for rental is double. No one prepared me for that. I found out as soon as we got here and we were looking for a place. So in Bloom, in Joburg, you will pay a deposit 1 month. You will pay a deposit that's equivalent to 1 month's rent. But in Cape Town, a deposit for a rental is twice the amount of the rent. Yeah, twice. And over and above that, in the same month, you have to pay the first month's rent. So yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. I mean, we were able to pay that, but it was still a surprise. So yeah, so I just thought I should let you guys know, if you are planning on moving here, do your homework, be ready, ensure that your finances are in order, and they do a thorough credit check. So just be ready for that. If there's even an indication, like, we didn't struggle, right? But the agent that was assisting us told us, like, if they find any issues, or you've missed a payment here and there, or something, or your previous agent had issues with you or didn't give a positive recommendation, trust me, you will struggle. So you need to ensure that where you come from, your relationship with your agent or the owner is on a good note, on a good standing. Otherwise you will struggle here. So yeah, so when people talk about that it's difficult to get accommodation in Cape Town, sometimes it could be those things and they're just not talking about those things, right? Yeah. The third thing I was not ready for, the third thing that shocked me is the culture. When I say Cape Town is different, I mean it is different. And of course it is, because it's Europe, in Africa, in South Africa. It's very different here. One of the things that stood out as soon as I got here and met my colleagues and everyone is that people are very vocal. People are very liberated mentally, right? And they speak their minds. If you get offended, that's your business, but they don't mean any harm, but they speak their minds. So yeah, that was quite interesting. Even from a work perspective, or from a work context where you sit in meetings, people throw jabs, and those on the receiving end take them. They receive the jabs and they retaliate if they want to, but it's not like in a fighting spirit, if you get what I mean. Like, everything is cool. Like, you can throw jabs, and I also throw jabs, but it's very cordial, which was surprising. I think I come from a very conservative background where, especially in the workplace, where you speak your mind, someone is offended. And sometimes if you offend someone in a position of power, they will retaliate sometimes. So yeah, that's not the case here. But also, I don't want to talk about work. But another thing is, life starts at 9 a.m. here, and work life, I mean, like life in general starts at 9. And work life stops at 3 or 4. That's what I've seen. So if you try to contact a business for whatever reason, if it's after 3, forget it. You're not gonna succeed. Okay. Try calling any business before 9 a.m. You won't come right. So life starts at 9 and work life stops at 3, but social life goes on until the next day, essentially. The malls close at 9 p.m., which is different from where I come from, where life stops at 6 almost, but here the malls close at 9. And I'm not talking the food court, I mean the malls. So the stores are open up until 9 p.m. I think at the V&A waterfront it could even be until 10. I stand to be corrected. Yeah. Speaking about businesses and work life starting at 9, ending at 3, another thing that shocked me about Cape Town and the culture is there's no sense of urgency. I've had numerous situations with businesses where you expecting feedback, you need a response, you will speak to someone over the phone and they will say, I'll call you before the end of the day, and lo and behold, they won't call you back. You will have to follow up the next day or later that day, whatever, right? So yeah, Cape Town life is a laid-back type of life. It's nothing compared to Bloem or Joburg, for that matter. People are quite chilled here. I don't know if I can attribute that to the fact that this place is like a tourist attraction city, and so I don't know. Like, people get up and go to work, But where you are a client and you expecting feedback, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. I don't even know what I can attribute the attitude to, but there's no sense of urgency. There has been a number of times where I'm expecting feedback from a business, I don't get it, and I've literally had to drive there because they will not get back to you, not call you back, not respond to emails. So you have no option but to go there and basically confront them. And it's only then that you get assistance. Sometimes you get assistance, but it's not the kind of feedback or assistance that you were hoping for. Like as you can tell, I haven't really had joy in that department. So and like I said, another thing that I wrote down here is that every day is like a holiday in a sense. People are just chilled. You go to the mall is packed. Like if I go to the mall this evening, let's say by, I don't know, maybe not today because it's late already, but if I go to the mall on a Friday at 4 p.m, the mall is packed. The one time I drove past Canal Walk on my way to the office for a meeting, and it was around 11 a.m, and the queue into the mall, like the queue of cars driving into the mall, was insane. And I'm just like, don't people work? Like, why are they going to the mall at this time of the morning, in those numbers? So so that was the third thing, the culture. The fourth thing is no apartment, no entry. So Cape Town, because it's a holiday destination and there's so many opportunities to make money here, like there are businesses around every corner, right? So you can imagine that there are plenty of restaurants, and I'm not talking your chain restaurants, your Spur and the likes, like unique type of businesses, right? But let me tell you, you can't go anywhere. You can't go to these restaurants without an appointment. Like, you need to book an appointment so that you can get access into these places. Maybe that doesn't sound right, but what I mean is, if you can't just walk into a restaurant and be like, hi, I wanna have a few drinks, or I'm here for an early dinner. Like, the first thing they're gonna ask you is, did you book an appointment? And you're like, no. And then they're like, unfortunately, we can't help you. So so that's how things are managed here. I don't know if I'm stingy, but I found that there's a lot to do in Cape Town, but almost everything requires you to purchase a ticket. I can understand purchasing a ticket as a system to manage the numbers, but literally everything you pay for. I think the only exception is like the market in town. But everything else you pay. You want to go to the museum, you pay. You want to, like this past weekend, there was an Italian market. You had to pay to get access, right? But when you get there, you're still gonna buy food, you're gonna buy drinks, you're gonna want to snack on this and that, maybe some art pieces or whatever. Like, so I'm just like, why are you charging me for entry, yet I'm still gonna spend money here anyway? Like I said, maybe it's just me, because I think in Bloom, some things you wouldn't pay for, as long as the business owner understands that you're there, you're going to spend money either on their products or the service, regardless, right? Okay. Now, that was number 4. Number 5, the food is not the same. The food is not the same here, and I've had conversations with some people Some people feel like the food is really, really good in Cape Town. And I'm just on the other side of the spectrum where I feel like, no, not really. And I'm basing this off of trying these chain restaurants. So like your Spurs, because sometimes you crave spur ribs, right? And you go there and you want to get the same nostalgic feeling. And trust me, the recipe is just not the same, or they don't make the food the same way. Something is just not right, because I've tried different spurs around the country, but as soon as I got to Cape Town, and I've visited about 3, it's just like the food just doesn't taste the same. So I don't know what it is. I've also had this experience with Nando's, where the chips are like giving slab chips and the meat is like hard. I don't know, guys, I don't know. But the other restaurants that are not chain restaurants, I guess, or franchise restaurants, like, I think those are okay-ish. But yeah, basically, like, I've just found that going to a restaurant here in Cape Town is taking a gamble. You could have a good experience or not. So it's just a gamble. You could enjoy the food, or you could walk away with a runny tummy. Somewhere along those lines. Number 6 is traffic is insane. But it flows, but it's insane. And I'll also say that if I compare traffic from last year versus now, it's crazy. And I mean, the locals always say, of course it's going to be crazy because you guys are moving here. And I'm just like, well, yes, here in South Africa, our land. Yeah, so I guess it's because people are moving down here from other provinces. But it could also be people are buying cars. Also, it could be that people are going back full-time to the office. So there are a lot of factors. It's not just because people are moving to Cape Town. It could be other things as well. Yeah. And then number 7, friendship. So because okay, this is my theory. I think because Cape Town is like a mini Europe, people are socialized differently here. For the most part, people are socialized into individualism, which is different from the rest of the country, where we tend to be more of a communist or socialist type background. And so people just carry on with their lives here. Why are you greeting that person? Why are you bothering the person? Just let the person be, that type of thing. Whereas where we come from, if you bump into someone, or you walk next to someone, or whatever, for whatever reason, the polite thing to do is to at least greet or nod your head or smile or whatever the case may be. But I've found that it's not necessarily the same here. And so it's been a bit challenging to make friends. But what I have found is you need to be part of some network, right? So be it home cell or a church, or part of, I don't know, some social group, maybe a hiking group or hiking club, a book club, whatever sort of grouping of people that you can be a part of, network that you can be a part of. I think that is a good ground for forging new relationships, friendships. Yeah. What has helped me a lot, having moved here, I think, is having a partner, a husband, really, because he's offered me that companionship that sometimes I wonder, if he wasn't here, how would I have navigated this space, like the friendship space? So, but put yourself out there. Like I'm saying, find a network or a grouping that can help facilitate that process for you. Yeah. Okay. I think this is number 8. Law enforcement is very much visible, which is great, especially for the taxis that act like bullies on the road. So sometimes a taxi driver will be acting funny next to you or wanting to cut you or something like that. A few meters down the line, law enforcement is there waiting for him. So I like that. I also like, especially when you drive at night, you kind of feel safe because they're always roaming around somewhere. And there's the ghost unit that will catch you by surprise. It's literally like the name suggests. Yeah, no branding on the cars, a very unsuspecting car at that. And then if someone does something, like they're very quick to respond. Yeah, they drive amongst you, you just don't know. So yeah, so I like that. Yeah, because I imagine even if you are in an emergency situation, you don't need to panic. I feel like help is always around or nearby, so that gives me comfort, especially as a woman on the road. Yeah. Number 9, no potholes in sight. This was a surprise or something that I didn't, not that I didn't know about Cape Town, but it was a pleasant surprise regardless. The roads look good, infrastructure in general looks good, things are well maintained, well kept. So kudos to the administration here. Yeah. And then the last thing is something in the air. The air is very clean, crisp, and nice here. There is humidity, but it's not as high as what you would get in KZN, in Durban, for example. So yeah, there's definitely humidity in the air, but it's really not bad. The wind it can get a bit extreme. I don't think it's anything, I don't think we've experienced this level of wind in the rest of the country. So yeah, I don't know if you guys can even hear the wind howling like that. I don't know if you can hear that. So yeah, but interestingly, I like Cape Town weather. Like, you see this kind of cloudy, gray, dull weather. That's my kind of weather. So I like that the system regulates itself. If it's hot for 3 days in a row, we know we're going to get rain or something to try and balance it out and calm that heat. So I like that. So I can't really complain about the weather here. I love the feeling every time when I get off the plane and I step outside and I can smell the fresh air. I thoroughly enjoy that. So those are things that I didn't know about Cape Town and things that I think you need to know in case you are planning on moving here. And building a life in Cape Town for yourself. So I hope you found this video insightful and that you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to give it a like. Click that thumbs up icon down below. And also consider dropping me a comment so we can keep the conversation going. I might have missed some things that maybe you as a resident of Cape Town find interesting or that you found interesting when you moved here. Please drop me a comment and let's have a conversation in the comments down below. Thank you so much, guys. And if you haven't subscribed, please remember to subscribe. Also, please follow me on my socials. On Instagram, it's at krally. On TikTok, it's at k.rally. Thank you so much, guys. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.